Let's dive on in then. For today is Tech Friday. Yay! And we'll be talking about all the hardware and software you should be using to stream, whether you're streaming on your own or producing a TTRPG actual play. Let's start off with some hardware, and we'll go over microphones first. Now, the best microphone is the microphone you have. I know that may seem like a cop-out, but it's true. Part of what makes a microphone sound good is how you treat the space you're in, because what you're going for is sound absorption, not soundproofing, but sound absorption. So if you were to Google this, Google sound absorption, be a lot better. If you have a hard surface like a wooden floor, you want to put down a rug, maybe you want to use sound panels like I have some behind me and to the side of me, putting up a couple rods with a big old blanket between them. Anything that can help reduce the echo of the sound, because sound goes everywhere, right? Like light travels in one direction. Sound don't care. It's out there flailing its arms, just having a good time wherever it goes, and it bounces off things and comes back. And so you want to reduce that bouncing off effect. So that's where the term sound absorption comes in handy, because it's absorbing some of that echo. And I'm in a room, right? There's a wall right behind me and to my left. And before I put up sound panels and before there was stuff in here, could go in, hear how much it echoed. But once we got stuff in here and I put up sound panels, there was a shift and it changed. And I just have 4 sound panels up to my left and behind me. And you want to place sound panels, at least, to start with, a couple right about where your head is, because sound comes from your mouth. I know it's amazing when I say these things, but since you want the sound from here to be absorbed, kind of want to do an initial placement right about head level, kind of get right about here, approximately, and that helps. And then you can build it up, down. You can even put sound panels on the ceiling, which I'll never put sound panels directly above me because that freaks me out. That, they could fall on my head, even though it's just foam. I don't care. But I'll probably put some more over to the side here, and that will improve the sound area as well, or the soundscape. But once you have your room treated, probably want to look at mics. Now, the mic I have, this one is from Rode, and you can find them all here. And it's the PodMic USB. I really like this mic, and it's XLR and USB. Yes, you can get a USB microphone and get fantastic sound out of it. If you're watching videos that are a few years old, you'll probably see something about, get an XLR mic if you want the best sound. Well, that's not true anymore. That's more a myth than anything, because USB mics sound really good. And I like the pod mic, because I could take it with me and still plug it into my laptop, because it has the USB cord in it. But right now I have the XLR going into the Rodecaster Duo, and we'll get to all that in a minute. And there are cheaper mics out there. There are less expensive mics. I would really be cautious with spending $50 or under on a mic. Go to YouTube, type in the model of the mic you're looking at, and hear what it sounds like. Now, the good reviews will say, okay, this is, non-filtered audio through this mic. This is filtered audio through this mic. And just listen to whatever sounds best to you. And one of the spots that has pretty good low-cost mics is Fafine. You can check them out here at fafinemicrophone.com. Oh, colorful mics, yeah. So if you're just starting and you don't know if you want to do this and you want to save some money, you're looking for a little lower cost mic, probably the Fafine brand would be what I looked at. Again, go to YouTube, type in the model you're looking for, and just listen to a couple of videos. That'll give you a lot of information about if that mic is good, if it's good for your voice. I got this mic, the PodMic USB. I liked how it sounded. I figured it'd be a good fit for my voice, and I think it still is. So, and I figured that out by going to YouTube, typing in the model of the mic, and just listening to other people who had reviewed the mic. And if you're looking for a price point where the mics are going to sound pretty good, once you hit that $100 mark, 100 to 150, you're probably pretty safe with the mic. I would still listen to it, but those are much safer bets as being good mic. Again, while I have heard really good sounding $50 mics, or probably less, just be careful with those. I don't want you to spend money and then you be disappointed in a product. So look at Fifine. They have a lot of stuff in audio, and it's typically less expensive, but it works, right? It works well, or at least good enough for what you might need it for. All right. Dre, hello. Welcome on in, y'all. Oh, why didn't your shout out work? Oh, I know why. Okay. I'll do a auto shout out here. Yeah. No, I'm just getting started. Just went over mics. Tanya, hi. Thank you for the resub. Oh, look, a button. Yay. So y'all, if you want some deep lore about comics and things like that, check out tripping_crutch on Twitch. Got a lot of knowledge in that area and very entertaining to watch. Also, check out Cypher of Tyr. They were playing Code Rain 2 earlier, which looked fantastic, and you got to see some amazing boss fights too. All right, so microphones. If you have any questions on microphones, or you're just coming in, let me know. I'd be happy to go over it again. And let's talk about just general hardware. If you plan on streaming, you probably want a second monitor. I have 3 because, well, when I got the computer before this one, my friend was, getting rid of stuff, and it's like, hey, I got a triple monitor thing. I'm like, okay, sale price, friend price. He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. So I have 3 monitors, but you definitely want at least 2 monitors if you're considering streaming. It'll make your life so much easier on yourself. And one of those, I really like these smaller monitors, like this. This is a 15.6 inch monitor, but ideally, I take it out of this box. I can probably fit it in a backpack, take it with me, plug it in my laptop, have it with me on the road. And so, but also this can be just a side monitor on your desk if you have space. Is that a travel monitor? It is. It has a little kickstand in the back, and I can put it horizontal or vertical. USB-C type, USB Type C and HDMI. I can do either. And just having that for a second monitor. Again, the colors don't have to be great on it, right? I'm not going to be using it for heavy photo editing work or video work. It just has to display information and be readable. So you can find monitors like that for like $60 or less, and you can put that up in your workspace, and you could maybe put OBS down there and have your chat or whatever you need up in front of you on your main screen, or whatever works best for you. But those are a good option because multiple monitors can get expensive. So if you want to save some money, get a look at travel monitors. They're pretty good. 1080p, that's fine. And so, that definitely solves the multiple monitor issue and saves some space as well. Hey, thanks for the streak. Appreciate that. You found the streak button. Yay. Streak buttons. All right. And then let's go into lights. Now, I have 2, what are they called? Elgato key lights on the left and right. And they come down, they light my face. I also got a cheaper photography light kit on Amazon, again, on a sale a number of years ago. And there's one over here that hits my green screen, and one over here that hits the top of my head. And you want to light your green screen, if you have one, because that gets rid of the shadows. And when you're looking at a stream and you see someone with a virtual background behind them, and part of their hand kind of disappears, or part of the chair goes away, it's because their green screen isn't lit. And then the headlight, the headlight, the light that I have that kind of hits the top of my hat here, that's just to provide a little separation from my background. So you see how it kind of hits right up here, and then my head, and that's just to help separate me from the green screen. But the lights on your face, whether you get one of those ring lights or you do the key light like I'm doing, the important thing for the lights that are going to your skin is that you have lights where you can control the color temperature, not RGB. Consider if it's an RGB light, that's just a bonus. But what you want is lights that have a color temperature adjustment to them so that you can set that to your skin tone and just get a better sense of it. Like I have these adjusted, so I'm not the pale white ghost that I am in real life. I have a little bit of color here and definition just because I change some sliders on my lights, right? Like I will change one of the lights and you'll see the effect on my face here. So if I go to a cooler light temperature and all the way down, can kind of see how on this side I'm a lot more blue, a little more pale, and then when I bring it back up, 3200. When I bring it back up, I look like I have an actual skin tone. So you want make sure it says color temperature, and there's some adjustments you can make on the light. That's really what you're looking for the lights that go on your face. Now these lights that hit the green screen and my head are simply white LED lights, because that's why I want on the green screen to get rid of the shadows, and on my head because that can just be that. Plus I can kind of turn this light here slightly if I wanted more light on the green screen. Also, to light your green screen, there are lights you can get. Sometimes they've been referred to in the past as kickers. I don't know how much that term's still used outside of professional lighting things, but there are these little lights you stick on the ground and you point up at things. So you may want a small light you can put on the ground and aim up at your green screen as well. And again, the idea with this green screen is just to get rid of most of the shadows, and that's how you get a good looking green screen, is plenty of light kind of shining the light so the shadows just go away. And if you want RGB lights, that's fine. I have some RGB light bulbs if I want an effect. I have an RGB light in the ceiling over here. I can turn it on. I can make it change color. I can do cool things with that. But as far as just regular streaming and your skin tone, you want color temperature and then light for your green screen. If you use one, that just needs to be like a flat white LED light. Now sometimes you'll see streamers who have the big bookcase behind them or whatever, and then they have the soft LED pinks or blues, and there's a reason they're using those pinks or blues, because they're softer colors to the eyes, right? And then they can also either add blur to their background or put themselves more in focus as well. Okay, so we've gone over mics, monitors, lights. Talk about cameras. I'm using the Elgato Facecam Pro, which I really like. It is if there's a feature I encourage you get on cameras, it's make sure it says PTZ, which it stands for pan, tilt, zoom, because I have controls on my Stream Deck where I can, tilt my camera one way or the other just by fiddling with a knob. I can pan it left, right, I can zoom in, out. They make your life easier when setting up, say you're doing a TTRPG actual play. That way you have some range of how wide your space can be, how much you can flail about, and how much of that can actually be on screen. Give your producer some option, because this is too much headroom. I just have headroom because the background here sign amuses me, but maybe that much would be good. Maybe a little, somewhere in there would be good. So if you provide just a little more headroom, then producer can go in and shrink you down properly and not lose the top of your head as well. But that's kind of a side rabbit hole to camera types. I have to say, there are a lot of really good webcams out there right now. And if I were to kind of start over, I would probably go with OBSBot cameras. These will detect your motion as well, so they automatically follow you and do the pan, tilt, zoom things. And I really like these. So if I get any future webcam, it's probably going to be an OBSBot. They're small. I can fit in almost anywhere, and they look really good. They just released, just this week, what they call the Tiny 3 series. There's the Tiny 3 and the Tiny 3 Lite. I would probably go with the Tiny 3 Lite, because the Tiny 3 is kind of expensive, but the Tiny 3 Lite, pretty good. The low light on these, I saw a couple of videos that test out the low light features. It looks great, and they look great in low light. And they also added a webcam mic, which again doesn't sound as good as a mic you're gonna plug in quite. But it's interesting because you can set it to different pickup patterns. So you can get the, the cardioid, the pickup pattern that's right in the microphone gets the audio right in front of you, front and back, all around. And it's serviceable sound, really. It's better than I thought it would be, actually. And if you want to stay in that OBSBot ecosystem, they also introduced little clip-on mics called the Vox SE, and these will interface with the specifically with the Tiny 3 and the Tiny 3 Lite cameras. And so your audio and video are all being presented with the camera, and then that camera feed is going in the audio and video, one device, going into your computer. So you could do those. Now, if you're portable and running around, I highly like this little Rode microphone here, because you can get this version for $100. You get 2 mics, dual transmitter, can plug it into a phone or a laptop or your PC. As long as there's a USB-C port, you can plug them in, and they sound pretty great. So there are options. There's also a company called DJI, which makes little tiny clip-on mic. Those sound pretty good too. So you have a lot of options if you need a clip-on mic. Going back to the OBSBot thing, because everything is those microphones and the camera are designed to work together. You could do that, and then when you got up to move around, you still have audio as the camera's following you. I know DJI from their drones. I forgot they make other things, right? Yeah, when I first heard DJI makes mics, I'm like, wait, what? They just make drones, right? No, they they do some audio stuff too. So if you'd rather have a mic clip on, is definitely like when you add this receiver to your PC, it shows up as an audio source. So you don't need any other special gear to get audio off of this. You just have to say, okay, and I forget exactly what it's named, but it gets its own little name in your audio sources if you're just using Windows default stuff, and you can route it however you want from there. Okay, so anything about hardware? Any questions like that? Because we're going to move into software recommendations. After that, I think I've covered most of the hardware stuff that I need to. Yeah. All right. Software. The big one is going to be what you broadcast from. And I highly recommend OBS. It's free. It's open source. There's a lot of interesting plugins, and you can really fine-tune and change the experience of how you look and set up your visuals really well. And it's my platform of choice, as it were. The other one that's still up and coming, but they're constantly updating, making great moves. I'm impressed with what they do for broadcasting, is Meld. You can find them at meldstudio.co, and OBS is at obsproject.com. They have some very good features that OBS requires a plugin for. They just kind of made native to Meld. So if you want a little more beginner friendly, maybe go to Meld and then go to OBS. But eventually you'll probably just want to be in OBS. Now there are other things out there, and people have had success with them, and that's great. But I'm always, for right now and the last few years, the recommendation is OBS. You can do so much with it. And when I was first starting, trying to figure out what I could use for streaming and how it all worked, I saw OBS, and coming from a video tech analog background, OBS just hit right. Like, okay, I understand what you're trying to do. And then I watched some videos and read websites and figured out some of the other things, but it just clicked with me, and has tons of options, tons of features. So Meld is training wheels, and OBS is when you're ready to take the training wheels off. Yeah, a bit. Or you can just go with OBS, but Meld is getting there to be a solid other recommendation, right? If you don't want OBS, I think you could do pretty well with Meld. There are still a few things that you can do with OBS that just aren't possible with other things. There's lots of great plugins, and Meld is still only a couple years old in comparison, so they're still doing things, but they do make things a little smoother, a little easier just to get the hang of and everything. So yeah, right now Meld is sort of training wheels plus. Like, I think in another couple of years, it would be, pick either one and you'll be doing just fine. So I'm also surprised at how quickly Meld is catching up as time progresses. But OBS is remain true. Like I was honestly thinking OBS was kind of going down, but then they did, I don't know, it might have been the 30 update or the 28 update, and they changed some stuff. I'm like, okay, that's pretty good. And I've seen someone did a video about what the next update and how they're going to be changing the interface and things to make it look more modern. And I'm like, okay, OBS, you're still in this. So yeah, and the basic point, whatever broadcasting software you use, they tend to have the what I call two bucket thing. They may not be called this in all the things, but essentially there's a scenes bucket and a sources bucket. You build scenes by putting all the stuff for it into sources, and then when you want to people to see all the stuff you packed in that scene, you just click on the scene and it switches for everybody. Oh, I did forget a piece of hardware. We'll go back to it in just a moment. So that's OBS and Meld. Those are the two I really like. I think they're doing good. OBS has been around for quite a while now, and Meld is doing some good things. But to go back briefly to hardware, because we're going to talk about another one of their products in a moment. But Stream Deck, you got. I don't know if I can see Stream Deck. Kind of the wire's stretching a little bit, and I don't want to stretch the wire too much there. But another piece of hardware that will make your life easier is a Stream Deck. Now, typically you can find other Stream Deck-like devices. You can find look up macro pads if you don't like Stream Deck, and some of them are just buttons with nothing on them, and you just program them and use them. I of course really like Stream Decks. Stream Decks are my favorite hardware thing. So you want a Stream Deck, you want a macro pad because it makes your life so much easier. Just be able to press that button while you're streaming. You can even use a touch screen. Like there's a version of Stream Deck for mobile devices, right? And I have it on my Android. So you could pay, I think it's a one-time fee of $50 or something like that. And you can do all the Stream Deck off your phone. You still program it on your main machine. And now they have virtual Stream Decks, which you can do so much with. But one of the key things is not only does it increase your productivity, and you can use them for a variety of purposes. For example, one of my Stream Decks has a button that says Discord, and that Discord button, when I hit that, opens up a folder where I have Discord channels listed, and they're the Discord channels I tend to always read on certain Discords before I look at other things. So I'm going through and I'm like, oh, what's happening over here? I just hit a button. I don't have to search the Discord software to find that Discord. It's just, it takes me there with a button press. So you can do things like that. Or what's that color there? Various of these devices have color pickers. And you can get the hex code for colors. Zoom into things, zoom out, multiple uses. But the real handy thing is you're not messing around with your mouse as you're switching scenes, because you could hit something that you didn't mean to hit with your mouse, and that could affect your stream. You could go, oh, I meant to do this scene, but somehow you're showing another window and that got on stream somehow. But if you just assign it to a button, you're not worried about misclicking with your mouse. You got to do a more intentional physical act. They come in very handy. Oh, one more bit of hardware that I use, thanks to community. I have a Rodecaster Duo, and if you can use a hardware mixer for audio, Fifine has a small one that's fairly inexpensive. So if you have a microphone that plugs into a audio mixer, that can save somewhat on computer cycles, and then your audio can sometimes get better processing by going through this piece of hardware before hitting your machine, as it were. And you can do more things with your audio that sometimes you can't do with software. And so audio mixer is a nice to have. If you're a professional in the space, you probably should have an audio mixer anyway. But if it's just streaming, you can probably get away with the Fifine one, or I really like the Rodecaster Duo. It's been a game changer for me. And then going back into software and talking about audio interfaces, if you a great audio interface, a great software audio mixer is the Elgato Wavelink version 3. Still in beta, so if you don't want to use it right now, I'm using it. You can come and listen to me talk about it, everything. That's fine, but it's the way to go. None of the other software mixers have as many features and make it this easy. and give you great sound all the time. You know, I can't, because it's in beta, yeah, there's a couple bugs here and there, that's fine. But once it gets out of beta, I really can't imagine recommending anything else other than Wavelength 3. And I'm using Wavelength 3 in combination with my Rodecaster Duo. It's how I route all my audio, because one of the big things is audio routing. And even some audio mixers don't allow for audio routing, which is, I want, say, my Chrome web browser, I want that to go to a specific channel and not these other channels. Well, in Wavelink, you can set that up and go, okay, Chrome browser, here. Chrome browser, okay, I'm getting audio through the Chrome browser. All right, it goes to this channel and this channel because I need it to go to two channels. Like, I need the audio to go out to you, and I need to hear the audio. So I'll probably have it going into different channels, depending how I have that all set up. And Wavelink 3.0 provides a easy solution for all that. Plus, it provides you with the virtual channels you can use to import into Meld or OBS as well. Now, because I have a Rodecaster Duo, I have a bunch of virtual channels to choose from, but it makes audio routing very easy. And I think I have a blog post up, which may need updating, because I don't think I updated it since the Wavelink 3.0 came out. Here, I'm pretty sure I do. Oh yeah, so I have 3 articles on audio routing. I have an overview, audio routing in OBS, and audio routing with a mixer, and you can see those over at my blog. Go to dclasair.com/blog. I know, right? Let me type in the URL I want y'all to go to so I get that. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see my first 3 blog posts are all about audio routing. So if you kind of want an overview of what it is, check those out. Still, yeah, come up. I even provided pictures, so yeah, or well, diagrams really. But yeah, check out those blogs if you want a little more in depth on than I'm going into here on audio routing, what it is, why you should use it, how it works, how you can just do it in OBS, because you could have multiple channels, or you can have multiple channels in OBS as well, and then select what tracks those go out to. But I have other videos on my Tech Friday YouTube about all that, so check those out. Hello, doing pretty good. Welcome on in. Oh, did I say hello to everyone? I don't know if let's see here. Nick, hi. Springleaf, hello. Dre, Tanya, JD Lady, Rex said hi. So thank you for being here, everybody. Appreciate it. Nick, yeah. Great to see you all. Welcome on in. I assumed you did say hi to all of us. I might have, but streamer brain, you kind of forget things. All right, going back to software things. Now, if you're producing an actual play stream, you're dealing with a lot of video. You're going to have people come in virtually. You know, most of us don't have a studio and multiple cameras connected up. And so you're going to bring in multiple video feeds, and then you're going to be broadcasting those multiple video feeds that are coming in out to the internet. And for this, I still recommend Zoom. Could use Zoom, or there's Video Ninja, which is video.ninja. But what I like about Zoom is that the video goes up to their servers, comes down to you, so that quality is maintained because they have servers that process the video before it comes to you. And you can also, as of, I think just last year, there's a closed captioning option you can turn on, and it individualizes everyone talking, you know, whatever display name they chose shows up in it, and you can capture that and put it into your OBS overlay, or whatever overlay you're using. You just make a window capture, or however you capture the window, and that way your guests are only using one program. They don't also have to log into Google Meets or some other website to capture their audio. You can handle it all with Zoom. Now, I've said before, I would kind of like to get away from Zoom, but right now Zoom does everything I need it to do, especially with captioning being a thing you can just turn on and having it there for everyone. I do like Video Ninja a lot. I should actually try Video Ninja, because it's again one of those things that the single developer of it is constantly improving it. So I should try it again. And it relies on peer-to-peer, so your internet and the person sending the video's internet they both have to be solid. They have to be good for you to get a good signal that you're sending out. If one of those isn't, it's not like Zoom where it's going up to a server where Zoom can kind of correct it. The video just goes wonky. And so that's not something you necessarily have to worry about with Zoom. But now Video Ninja has improved. It has this thing called, I think they call it mesh networking, where he's opened up these little servers where video goes to the server and comes down to you. So you can do that too. And some people, it works fine. You'll just have to test it if that's the way you want to go. And then use some other option for captioning or subtitles. Captioning, I think, is probably the right word. No, subtitles? Either one. One moment. So yeah. Oh, almost time for a break. We'll see if I can get through this last bit. All right. And finally, planning my streams happens in one application that if you've been here any length of time, you'll probably know what I'm about to say, and that's Obsidian. Over at obsidian.md, all my TTRPG games have there. Anything I release to you, all my videos are planned out in Obsidian using Obsidian Notes. I really like it. Makes things very easy. And there's so many plugins to it. Pretends to be shocked. Thanks, Leaf. You all know I'm an Obsidian main. But having one place to organize your thoughts, to put together ideas for your videos is very useful. Whether you use Obsidian or not, you should definitely use Obsidian. Go for it. But there are other services. But you did convert a bunch of us to Obsidian. Yes, you should use Obsidian. Obsidian is great. Okay, I'm going on my Obsidian Markdown rant again. I probably heard this before, but it'll be in this video too. So it's an extra dose. Rex, my work is done here, right? Was it for Rex and another friend of mine, may not be using Obsidian. But what I've been encouraging people to write in is Markdown, and Obsidian understands Markdown and does a lot of great things. I was looking for something that was Notion without all the AI constantly coming at me. And so I found Obsidian as a thing, and I've just been using that for over a year now. All my future projects that I'll release to you will be in Obsidian Vault, or at least done in Markdown. And you can open Markdown files in any text editor ever and still read them, which is what is so great about Markdown, because you can make your documents look good, and if something doesn't understand Markdown, you can still understand what's going on without it being like lines of code to make this one character or anything. It's human readable, right? So I like Markdown, and then I like Obsidian for a ton of other reasons, which you can go to my YouTube and find various videos where I'm talking about Obsidian. And if you go to my blog, I even have blog posts about Obsidian and Markdown, so you can read those too. Well, while you're there looking at the audio routing ones. But yeah, so those are my hardware and software recommendations. I hope I've given you enough where even if you aren't quite sure about the things I recommend, that you can go off and have a good enough base to get your own research done and find a solution that works for you. Like I said, second monitor, what is that? It could be a portable monitor, it could be, whatever type of monitor you want. You want two monitors if you're streaming, especially if you're producing. It makes your life 1,000 times easier. Plus a Stream Deck or a macro pad, life 1,000 times easier for streaming and producing. All that. And yeah, if you have any hardware or software recommendations of your own for streaming, we can talk about those when we come back from break, because it's break time. Yay! Hey, I fit everything in the normal amount of time, and the stream stayed live, so we call that a win. Yay. If you're watching the VOD on YouTube, thanks for being here. I'll see you next week for another Tech Friday.